Ain't It Cool News presents Ain't It Scary Reviews, a month-long exploration of terror.
Who doesn't love the original Night of the Living Dead? It's a classic, one that every fan of horror should appreciate. It wrote the rules for modern zombie movies and serves as a terrific example of independent filmmaking. That's why I've always been apprehensive about watching the 1990 remake by Tom Savini. But the experience wasn't nearly as gut-wrenching as I was expecting. This updated version follows the same basic plot of the original. Barbara and her brother drive up to visit the grave of their mother at a Pennsylvania cemetery.
Let's just get through this, can we please? Just get it over with.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Shortly after pulling in, they're attacked by the Walking Dead. Barbara seeks refuge in a secluded farmhouse, where she meets up with Tony Todd, a young couple, and a family of 3. The 7 strangers spend more time squabbling than preparing for the onslaught of zombies.
Look, I don't need this, Cooper. I told you before, you want to go downstairs, go on. Get! You can be boss down there, I'm boss up here.
Survival depends on keeping a level head and staying at least one step ahead of the horde. While Savini took over directing duties, George Romero and John Russo returned to update their screenplay. Each of the main characters has been tweaked, and the events don't play out the same way they did in 1968. You have the basic idea of what will happen, but Barbara is now a stronger character that visually morphs throughout the movie, from a meek victim into a strong, independent warrior. This changes the outcome of the movie in a mostly satisfying way. Ben and Harry Cooper's relationship is much more antagonistic, which leads to an extended screaming match that seems to never end. Savini, Romero, and Russo, they remove some of the subtleties from the original with more pronounced visual cues and action. An excellent example of this happens during the final minutes, when one of the characters reflects on one of the primary themes of the movie out loud.
They're us. We're them, they're us.
That may be where the film feels most flawed. Those subtleties of the original, it made it a classic. We didn't need to see Ben and Harry physically attack each other multiple times to understand their problems.
Hey, man, will you take it, huh? What the hell? No, this is a beer pal. Will you get off my back?
And our militia is given more on-screen time with lines and a menacing tone. These are changes that I could have done without. The most noticeable difference between the two films is the impact of the film stock, color versus the original's grainy black and white. Even with the colorful blood spills, forceful head bashing, visible autopsy scars on the bodies, and bullet wounds, the original felt more violent and gory. When the black and white zombies would eat the entrails of the recently departed, my mind would fill in the details. The Walking Dead from 1968 also seemed more faceless and less defined. You could imprint your own phobias and characteristics upon them. Perhaps there are benefits to shooting on a limited budget. The updated Night of the Living Dead is a good zombie survival tale in its own right. Not as good as the original, but better than most of the imitators that have come along since. Savini, Romero, and Russo have made some interesting changes to the original, but in the end, this retelling will make you appreciate the version that we all know and love even more.